to kind of definitely with the mental health aspect. But that would be good to bring that back.
Yeah. So we are back in the Woman Talk 2 Experience with show. Sorry for the late time feature. We got a guest here. I used to work with her a long time ago. Probably for a lead now. She is the CEO and founder of the Lotus Counseling and Consulting Services LLC. Where their mantra, I might be wrong, it says, healing through trauma is an attainable dream, a journey that can begin today, right now. So let's welcome Miss Kalonya Jones. How you doing today?
Thank you. Oh my gosh, you went on my website. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So
I'm doing good. How are you, LeVon?
I'm doing good, man. We're in July, the second half of the year. There's been a lot that's happened in the past 4 weeks. So let's get right into it. So I'll get to why you started the Lotus Counseling and Consulting Service, but can you tell us who is Kalonya Jones?
Wow. It's such a weighted question. But I would just say I am someone who has, like we were just talking about before, has experienced trauma during my childhood. And I think a lot of times clinicians, we want to be so helpful, but we don't also admit stuff that happened to us in our life to bring us to where we are right now. So for me, definitely childhood trauma, and I didn't know how to heal from it. My coping skills were so bad. Definitely had high defense mechanisms, and I brought that into my adulthood. And it was my relationships as far as friends and family and everything just kept breaking down. And I was trying to figure out what was the problem. Started going back to school, went back to school, got to Villanova, graduated with a dual degree in clinical mental health and school counseling degree. And I found out so much about myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder the generational traumas, no wonder I keep experiencing the same things and not learning my lessons. So with me going to counseling, learning about counseling myself too, that's kind of my story. And now it's that's my passion. I have my business now. I love counseling. Mental health is key, it's pivotal, because if this isn't right, everything else around you.
Yes.
Everything else around you.
Yes, that's mental health, because if mental health not right, you're going to make a lot of bad decisions and bad choices based on your mental health status. So you say you went through a lot as a young person. So what phase you went through as a younger? Did you try to get help while you was younger, even though you was in that phase, or you didn't know how to get help in that phase?
Well, again, hats off to you, LeVon, because the fact that you're talking about mental health, when we were growing up, it wasn't a thing that we talked about, especially in the Black community. It was you got your mama and your grandmama, and those are the pivotal people in your family. You go to your grandmama if you need help or some type of whatever you need, right? And then you have your mom. But if that household is dysfunctional, if it's not working correctly, who do you go to? So for me, I didn't have anyone to go to other than my older brother. He was my go-to person. If he had me, if I had him, and that was pretty much it. Because my family, I learned, adults are just kids that grew up, and my parents were just kids that grew up and they did the best that they could. I wish they would have did things a little bit differently, but they did the best that they could. So long story short, I really didn't have anyone. I didn't have a school counselor. I didn't have any counselors. I didn't really have extended family kind of reaching out. So I internalized a lot of stuff, and I carried it over to adulthood until I got counseling myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, mind blown.
So do you know when the moment you realized that in that time with adulthood, you realized, remember when your moments that I need to get help? Okay, this is my breaking point. I need to get help now because this is causing me this, that, and third. Before, if I don't do this now, this will happen. Do you know when that moment was?
In all honesty, probably when I had my first child.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's when it hit me, and I was like, oh my god, I'm a mom. I have the ability to either really mess things up with my daughter or really do a good job. So that was when I really started focusing on my mental health. It was going to school, talking about it, doing book reports. Oh, that's all fun and good and well. But when you had this little person looking at you, to your everything for their mental health, you're supposed to be modeling coping skills. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. I need someone to help me parent. I need someone to help me.
Yeah, so you went, so basically after you had your daughter, you went to mental health, and then what did you discover? What did you discover while your mental health that was a breakthrough for you that to help you go on your journey now?
Great question. Actually, I found a lot of clinicians, and no shade. I love you all out there, no shade. But I found clinicians that weren't best fits for me. And I felt like I was being re-traumatized, or like it just wasn't helpful. And I was like, this is the third clinician, or the second clinician, or the first one. And it was not helpful at all. So I think for me, the turning point was like, I got to be the person to make the change in my life, or maybe at least I can make the change for other people. So that really gave me the goal to like start my own business. Now, I'm going to be honest, I have a clinician right now too, just helping me through like my marriage and helping me through my second child, because transitions are definitely like pretty, they're heavy.
So I noticed that you said that's so true, that a clinician, a therapist like you, needs a therapist. You deal with a lot of people per day, per week, and you need to detox, not detox, like detox your system. And you don't want to bleed on them. At the same time, you are a wife, you are a mother. So it's very important that you have opportunity to get care for yourself too. So what made you start what made you start your business? What was the why for your business?
Good. So same thing like I just said before, friends and family kind of coming up to me and giving me like their stories, and I was like, girl, I'm not a clinician. Like, I'm just going to school right now. Well, when I was at Millersville, but my friends, family, and loved ones were like, no, you need to like, we're gonna push you to do this. I don't care if you gotta watch your baby. Like, I don't care. You need to become a clinician because we need more black, female, male clinicians out here, just black POCs who are clinicians. And I was like, okay, but they literally village came through, helped me out with my family, my baby. And I was able to graduate like top tier honors, from Villanova. But if I didn't have the support, if I didn't have the mental health, none of that would have been possible.
Yeah. So can you tell us what is Lotus Counseling? So what's that? What is that? The whole breakdown. They said counseling. I said consultant. I was like, okay, what's that too? So can you tell us what that is?
Twofold. So the Lotus Counseling obviously is definitely counseling for individuals, group, couples, families, all the above. I start with like ages 13 or so, all the way until around like 65, 68-ish, because I'm like, if you're a little bit older than that, I get a little nervous, because like you're my elder. But work on trauma, grief, depression, anxiety, things of that nature. So the Lotus Counseling to me kind of means, it ties back into my practice, my spirituality. So I'm Buddhist. And with Buddhism, it's like the lotus flower is almost pivotal because it comes from such a murky, dark, like really bad environment. But then when it grows past, like with no sunlight, basically, like, and it evolves into this beautiful flower, it's like you went through so much trauma, so much obstacles, but you were still able to blossom and become who you're supposed to become. And that's like what I want to embody with Lotus Counseling and Consulting, is that you can still go through so much trauma in your background, but you can heal on the opposite side. You don't have to wait until death, or you have to wait until you become older. Like, you can be happy today, right now.
Right, I totally agree with you. I mean, things are important to heal right now, right in that moment. So I don't know, when did you start the business? When did you start?
So I started in December 2021.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't like officially get like clients and stuff and start until like around March 2022-ish or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do business consulting as well too. So I go into businesses and like to kind of help them with. I did some anti-racism stuff back in the day at Villanova, actually, to kind of help out with like how to talk politically correct, especially with everything like George Floyd that was happening. All the racism that is like kind of being pushed to the forefront in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, so I was asked to come to Villanova at least twice to do like some anti-racism and like how to kind of do multicultural counseling.
Oh, okay, wonderful. So you mentioned before you got on start live was about Lawful's weight, that big issue, that big news that happened last Friday. So what are your thoughts about it? Because I'm a man, so I heard about it, but now it's like really a big thing for a woman. I see the protest every single day, So what are your views about it? So you are a woman, so.
I think it affects everybody,
okay.
Men and females, because it's like it takes two to tango.
True, true.
But then also too, it's like if I'm some young guy and I'm like starting off in my 20s, I just graduated college, and I'm like, oh, I want to like just go out and have fun. I'm going on like dates or to clubs. If I accidentally get someone pregnant, now we're becoming parents. And this is like stuff that people do. Like in life, you meet someone, you may not want to like be them to be your parent, like your spouse or something. But it takes that. I feel like it takes it takes the woman's right away, obviously, but then it's also take the man's right away then too, because like what if he chooses not to want to have a child? He doesn't have a choice in the matter either. So it's like as citizens, our rights in general are taken away.
Yeah, that was big news. That was big last week, and because I was like, that's sad because women can be in a situation that they don't want to be mom right now because circumstance and finances, and they can't do that. They got to be parents and they're not ready for it, and that causes the trauma that comes in too, because now like you got to be a parent and you're not mentally ready for that, and the children will be affected by that. So but it also goes on to like, what if you are mentally unstable, like you have a really debilitating mental illness, and then someone maybe takes advantage of like a woman. Now this person who is like mentally disabled, who maybe not have the ability to take care of a child anyway, is supposed to have a child. Yeah, right. It's a lot to take in, a lot of things to understand. But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision for yourself. Now you got to be more cautious of who you go around and just be more aware. This person could be the parent, could be took out for life, even if we just run one date. You know what I mean? So you got to be mindful. You got to now think about the consequences and the effect of that. So I want to talk about mental health and especially in our black community, our young people, they go through a lot. So what advice would you have for teachers? Because in terms of dealing with children's mental health, there's so many like IEPs out here, and don't need an IEP, I believe, because just need activity to do. So what your views about what advice you give teachers or educators about how to deal with kids that have trauma and mental health issues in their classroom, maybe some nuggets you can teach them as they go to the summer break and they go to the fall?
Wow, that's a tough question. Teachers they have been dealing with a lot since the entirety of time, I feel like, but I feel like even more so now with the mental health, it is a lot more that teachers have to wear different hats. The advice that I want to give, which will, in my mind, be great, but then you start thinking about funding, you start thinking about different schools, and of course it would be like to try to get your students to meet the school counselor, right? But what if you don't have a school counselor?
Exactly.
And you're like left with like, what do I do? Because I don't have like the skills to counsel these children. I think, honestly, being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think leaning into a little bit of discomfort and like broaching the conversation as far as like, how do you feel today? And if a student starts to really break down and they don't really have anyone, trying to find support systems within that child's life, whether it's their parents, their grandparents, godparent, someone else in the school, it could be a janitor. Mm-hmm. And maybe that person can kind of talk to the janitor and like get their feelings out, because being in the classroom and crying may take time away from learning, but I think it's very critical in this life skills. Like, why do we have to shield our emotions just to learn? I think it's just having a conversation and being a little bit uncomfortable. And if it gets to the point that I'm like, ooh, this is too much, then maybe reaching out to other support systems. And if you do have a school counselor, then reaching out to a school counselor or a social worker to bring in like community support from the outside, because that's what schools are meant to do, right? You're supposed to have communities come into the school to help out. So reaching out to local agencies who maybe want to volunteer their time to come and talk to kids, who have the background of counseling.
I totally agree. I agree with you with that. So it's so important that we focus on our children, our young people, and just make sure that they're on the right track. Make sure, especially now as COVID and the gun violence going on in the city and safety issues and kids, people are scared to go outside. It's a lot to deal with. So like
the mass shootings,
yes, and all stuff like that. So, what can you tell us more about the services you provide? I know I saw you got notes here, so I don't want to that's how you brought it, and I had that, So
no worries. Just mostly, like I said, we do business consulting as well. Like I mentioned with Villanova, kind of reaching out doing anti-racism. We also do professional counseling, which is again individual, group, families, couples counseling. We work primarily on trauma, especially past traumas, childhood trauma, complex traumas, anything to do with trauma. But we also do grief, depression, and anxiety, amongst other things as well, like boundary setting, which is like critical, which is key, communication, emotional regulation, like how to manage your emotions, right? Just being able to kind of be comfortable with who you are, self-identity, self-awareness, things of that nature. Let me see what else. So I guess that's pretty much it on this paper. And then I have like my social media.
Okay. So what's next for Lois Council? What's next for that? You got to do an event coming up or a fair to promote your services, or?
So I'm thinking about an event. I haven't had a chance to kind of wrap my mind around it, but I do want to do something like a professional networking. I'm hoping to do it next month. Next month, sorry, July. Time is moving. Yes, I plan on doing it in August, so we will see. Please be on the lookout on my Instagram page, Facebook, or Twitter to kind of get more information about that. If not, then definitely by the fall, I will be hosting an event and just having a professional networking event, probably at like a local bar, something real laid back, some workers, and just like talking about your business.
Yeah. Okay. So you said, like you said, you do a lot. You're a mom. You're a business owner. You're a wife, and you are a therapist. So, what do you do with self-care?
A lot of my self-care now, like I said, is having a counselor. Some other self-care is like taking a walk. Some other self-care could be just things that I want to do in the moment, or saying no. Like honestly, that's a self-care. Like, and my husband was like, "Oh, do you feel like no? I just want to sit here and like watch nonsense TV because that's like my copious goal, right? Because I've had to take all my clients and so I'm just like trying to just really decompress. So it could be taking a bath, it could be listening to music, it could be like literally watching the dumbest thing on TV. I can't think of anything, but like something just in the background, that could kind of help me just digest like what I've learned with my clients as well.
So you said you started taking clients a couple months ago, right?
Last year, February 2021.
So, what was the moment for you that said that, okay, I need to do this. I need to continue to do this because of the impact of this session. I had to start. What made you decide that I'll keep this going?
My family and friends, honestly, because I had the biggest imposter syndrome that I can imagine, and I know other people out there have had it too, but it's like, I've had 6 years of school. I know what I'm doing. I had 2 more years to get my license. So that is a total of 8 years, right?
That's a lot of years.
Yes. So I'm like, why am I questioning myself? Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
But I definitely had moments when I was like, I'm just going to give this up. I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't care what my clients say. I'm just like, give this to another therapist. But my husband, my family, my girlfriends were like, nah, girl, you already started this. You got to see this through. At least do it for a year. And then, like, once the year comes, do it for another year, So now I'm at the point where I am almost completely fully booked. I have like 3 more spots.
So what's your schedule like? Regular schedule like during the week?
So Monday through Thursday from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, and then on Saturdays 11 to 6.
So I like that you do it afternoons instead of the morning to get time. Okay.
Manage the baby during the morning. My husband works, so it's like me taking care of the baby during the day, and then in the evening.
I like that. Okay. So you work out of an office or in a building or?
At home right now.
Oh,
I'm doing telehealth.
You must be virtual. Yeah. Okay.
plan on getting a space because my clients have been asking me to meet me face to face, and I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking about doing something in King of Prussia. Yeah, there's some space available in King of Prussia that's not too far from me. So.
Okay. And my last question is, what advice would you give to the younger Kalonya?
No, Levon, you are hitting with these questions. Oh, God. I guess. Are you a therapist? Did you go to school for therapy? Probably, keep your head up, girl. Keep your head up. Regardless of everything that's happening, like, there will be happiness to come.
Yes, I love it. And where people can find you, more information about you?
Perfect, thank you. So yes, you can reach out to my website, which is www.thelotuscounselor.com. You can also see me on social media. On Instagram, it is at The Lotus Counselor. On Facebook is at Facebook is at Lotus Counselor. Twitter is at Lotus Counseling, minus a G, number 3. And then you can find me on LinkedIn with my first and last name, Kalonya Jones.
Wow, Kalonya, I'm so proud of you. You are doing something extraordinary right now that we all need is addressing our mental health on a regular basis. I commend you. I thank God for you that we connected, and I hope that we can stay connected because I got some ideas coming up that we was talking now. So, but thank you so much for being part of the show. I appreciate it. And one more question. What advice would you give everyone now as we are in the second half of this year? What advice would you give to them?
Don't wait. Oh, with mental health?
Yeah.
I jumped in there. I'm like, don't wait. Call someone. If I'm not your best fit clinician, please find someone who is, because like it is going to change your entire life. Like, I can't guarantee anything, but once you find a good fit clinician, you will see changes. People around you will see changes, and your life will not be the same. In a good way.
Yes.
But Levon, you're doing amazing things. You are the catalyst to like me even starting a lot of the adventures that I had because I was scared shitless. I ain't gonna lie. When we were connected together back in Colombo, but you kept pushing me and I was like, oh my gosh, Levon, I don't want to do this. But you're like, no, the youth needs it. So you are bomb. You are amazing. Please continue doing this.
I am. I tell you one day at a time, man. Try to elevate now. So it's like, trying to elevate my businesses and trying to grow and, because mental health is kind of like my passion, like now more than alongside with the kids. So it's like I want to incorporate that because growing up, I did not have that. I didn't have it. I went to speech therapy for speaking, but that affected my mental health for a long time because of my confidence and talking to people, and I didn't get really help until about 8 years ago. I'm a therapist because of something that happened in my relationship, and I thank God that I'm back in therapy because I would not be the person I am today. I would not be there. Even though we had a lot of progress, we had, there's still going there, and I see in our community that I want to help our young people. I want the people that have grown up to know that this stuff is available, that you can't get healed now. You don't wait till you 40 or 30 or 50 to get healed. You can start now while you're still processing going on and get the tools you need to be successful. That's why I highly recommend you go as counseling, the time services. Don't worry about coming out to it yet, you're going to come with me at home. Then you do from home. So
there you go, comfort from your home, your car.
I know, yeah, so it's okay. So, but thank you so much. I really appreciate you. We will definitely have you back on down the road once we got some events coming up. Let me know about the events you're doing. We'll better plug in, promote it because we about mental health. Make sure that our people are together. Make sure that our people are getting the help they need going forward. And going to the second half of the year, going to the next years ahead. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Have a good Saturday, y'all.